Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're at in the world and when you're watching this. Welcome to Auntie Key Reads channel. And for those who are new to the channel, I want to welcome you as well to the channel of Auntie Key Reads. I appreciate you being here today. I thank you for your time and exchange of energy. And since you're here, you might as well go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You won't be disappointed. And for those who have been a part of the channel, I just want to thank you again for your continued love, support, and loyalty throughout the changes that I've been making on the channel. Also, for any type of information that you are wanting to know as far as like wanting to give personal readings with other form of social media platforms that I post on, feel free to look in the description box below. All that information is offered there. Just to let you all know, for the month of December, from now until the 24th, I am offering a Christmas special. And what that entails is that I have a Christmas deck. And with the Christmas deck, you can choose either one question of 8 cards for $12.12, or for 20 minutes, you can receive a mini reading in regards to what energy you'll be in for the month of December, as well as what will take place for you during the holidays. If that is something that you're interested in, feel free to contact me, okay? And again, that information will be below as well. So, with that in mind, we are about to dive into a pick a card reading. So, what is today's pick a card reading going to be in regards to? This is going to be in regards to what have you learned about yourself this year in 2023. So, what have you learned about yourself in 2023? So, as you see, you have 3 piles to choose from, starting from left to right. So, pile 1 is going to be the hair clip. Pile 2 is going to be the silver tweezers. And pile 3 is going to be the Q-tip. So, take a minute to decide which pile is resonating with you intuitively. And while you're doing that, I'm going to take a deep breath, and feel free to participate with me. 1, 2, 3, inhale. And exhale. Okay, so I've taken my deep breath. Hopefully you all have chose the pile that is speaking to you intuitively. So we're about to get started with pile 1. So let's see, with pile 1, and the cards, as you see, have already been pre-shuffled. I know certain piles may have more cards than the other as well, but let's dive in. Pile 1. So the first cards is going to be what you have learned about yourself this year. All the cards are, but let's just dive in. Let me stop talking. Okay, so pile 1. We're going to get started with what have you learned. Okay, so pile 1. You have learned this year how to be patient with yourself, with life, the way that things move, and just understanding that you can't control everything in all situations. What the card actually says is patience. You were able to let the universal energy of transformation move according to its own loving rhythm. So this is giving me the energy that pile 1, that like this year you have really realized to remove yourself so that spirit, universe can really just move the way that they want to move in your life versus like what you may have in store for yourself. It's almost like the universe has a bigger plan in store than what you have. And it's giving me the energy that, like, you know, maybe beforehand you were the type of person that would want to rush to get results or rush to get to the destination, or you really were just gung-ho about rushing things. And it's giving me the energy that like you've experienced more than one situation to where you realized that rushing was careless, reckless, and it wasn't something that was long lasting. So with accepting patience and just allowing spirit to move in your life in a certain way, I feel like you're getting better results. I feel like there's more of a peace, more of a flow, more of a natural flow that's happening in your life versus like things happening so forcefully to where it like backfires or again, it doesn't last long. So with the patience, that's also the energy that you're learning to be gentle with yourself as well, Pile 1. So it's like you have allowed the universe to intervene and guide you. So patience is what you have learned this year. So let's continue diving deeper to see what else you have learned about yourself this year. What have you learned? Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so diving a little deeper, Pile 1. Okay, so we have unconscious games, confessions, boss up, trust your intuition, be open to receiving. So Pile 1, what else you have learned in regards to yourself is, this is giving me the energy that you have learned a certain way as far as how to move, and especially with the conscious games. I feel like maybe before you would be the type of person that would just act off of impulse or possibly just act based off the first thought that came to mind. And with the confessions, I feel like with the way that you were moving or with the way that you were getting results, it's like you realized that you really had to be honest with yourself, especially if you did want to excel or boss up or move to the next level. Not necessarily just in regards to career, just life in itself, you know what I'm saying? And I just feel that with the unconscious games that you have to not necessarily take life so seriously, but it's almost like you realize that you have to treat life like a game. You almost have to have some type of fun or competition in it, but yet as well as just games, you do have to be patient, because sometimes when it comes to a game, you can either win or lose. And if you lose, it's like you do have to sometimes relearn the game, try a different approach, learn your opponent so that you can win. So I just feel like you really have had to learn about more of yourself with the way that you move, the results that you wanted, to where it's like, okay, let me be real with myself. The way that I'm doing things isn't quite the right way. So let me take a more mature approach and look at things differently. You know, you see the window in the airplane. She's in an airplane. So it's like this did have to put you in a position of seeing possibly yourself or just the picture as a whole in a different way, to where it's like, okay, when it comes to life, I can't just really trust my perspective or just rely on my own perspective. I have to look at things from a different perspective, which is trusting your intuition. So it's like the patience that you have had to go through based off experience, it has slowed you down to where you are learning to trust your intuition. Maybe before it would be a thing to where it was like you would make moves and you would have that feeling like, man, I shouldn't have done this, or that wasn't the right thing. But because you were so focused on getting a result, sometimes you're realizing like it's not always about the result. It's just about being on the journey and just knowing that you have to move a certain way to get there versus just simply getting there. So with the trusting your intuition, I feel like by you being open to receiving, that's where the patience comes in. That maybe you're the type of person that you are a better giver than receiver. And because of the way that you were going about things, it's like life had to slow you down to show you that there's a different way. You see how she has the blindfolders on? So this basically goes back to what I was saying as far as like you can't just rely on your own approach. You know, you see she has the sunglasses. So to me, it's like she's not seeing the beauty or the light of things. She's just seeing what she wants to see. So with being open to receiving, I feel like, again, you are now in the energy of attracting more than chasing. And I feel like throughout this year, Pile 1, that you have learned that balance of being able to attract versus chase, which is being open to receiving. And also being open to receiving is a form of self-love. So I feel like you have learned to be gentle with yourself. You've accepted that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to dust yourself off, try again. It's just okay to try again. But I do see overall that you've had to be real with yourself. And by you being real with yourself, it's like, okay, it's okay that I don't know. But I do trust spirit or the universe to guide me, which that is your intuition. So I feel like you've also have learned to connect with spirit, and you have an awareness now as far as how the universe is working and how they want to guide and move you as well, Power One. Let's see. Yeah, you just have more of a strategic approach to life, and it's like maybe you're not taking life so seriously. But yeah, I just feel like you've been very real with yourself. You have possibly removed the blockages that were out of your way, or it's like you've released a certain mind frame that was possibly dark or not so positive. And I just feel like it was a control thing that you really have had to be real with yourself and let go of, and just accept the fact that mistakes doesn't mean that you're not successful. It just gives you another approach to redirect yourself to see something different. And it's like you've accepted that. And I just also just get the energy that you have been very gentle with yourself as well. So you now accept that patience is more of a flow versus feeling like it's never gonna come. You understand, you're starting to understand how the universe works and how to get your way. So the thing that you have been focused on this year is physical activity. And what you have overcome is moderation. Okay, so 67, that breaks down to the number 3, physical activity. So the focus that you have been focused on this year, Power One, is the physical activity. And I don't take this as a thing as far as like exercising or that type of thing. I feel like it's been along the lines as far as your approach and the way that you move. Moving is a physical activity. So with the unconscious games and physical activity, I just feel like you have learned, again, a different approach as far as how to move in life, or just realizing that your way of trying to go about accomplishing things or just being yourself wasn't really allowing you to be true to heart, which possibly means that you weren't necessarily being true to others because you weren't following your heart. So with the color blue, I just feel like this is a part of the confessions, being real with yourself, being honest to set yourself free. And it's like with the purple, this is where the intuition, or just, seeing things from your third eye, has allowed you to more so go with your intuition. So I just feel that your focus this year is being more aware of how to move, when to move. If this is now, it's almost like you can check in with yourself and ask like, okay, is this the right time to even make a move, or should I be patient? When do I apply myself and when do I remove myself? So I just feel like you have that balance of knowing when to make a move. And then it's like at the same time, you can check yourself if it's like, okay, too much of me in the way, so let me boss up. And I just feel like you guys are so goal oriented to where it's like, it's okay to relax and still be passionate about what you want to accomplish as well. But at the same time, you just can't always be focused on getting to the destination. You still have to trust your intuition. And you just sometimes always can't make moves. It's like not making a move is a move, because that is trust in spirit to allow you to receive. And I feel like you have learned that balance on when to make a move and when to not make a move. What you have overcome with the moderation, I just feel like you understand, like you have to do things in a certain way at a certain pace, like the card says, the rhythm. And in order to have a certain rhythm, you do have to learn the beat, you have to learn the way to move, and it's just a certain flow to where it all comes together. And I feel like you have learned that remedy to where it's like it's starting to work for you, and especially with going into the new year of 2024, Power One. So it's like you still carry the passion as far as what you want to accomplish, but yet at the same time, you do have to trust your heart. Your heart is your intuition, which is your higher self. The number 14 breaks down to the number 5. 5 indicates change, being adventurous, confirming the fact that you're on the right path. So I just feel like, you know, with the moderation, there's really no rush to get to the end. You've changed your approach, physical activity, so it's like you're able to trust your intuition by allowing spirit to allow you to receive. So it's like you do have to trust your intuition and receive in moderation. So you understand that it's a process. There's certain steps that you have to take. And I feel like that's what you have learned this year, Pile 1, is learning spirit and universe's way of how you can receive. And I feel like, you know, spirit has put you in a position to really have to be honest with yourself. And I feel like you've accepted the truths that you have had to look at, or the shadow work that you have had to do. So it's like the card says, you were able to let the universal energy of transformation move. And that's basically what's taking place for you this year, Pile 1, is that you have transformed as far as just learning about your way versus the universe's way. And I feel like you're getting more results with that, to where it's like, you know what? All I really have to do is just believe and trust my intuition and just move in a certain way based off how I'm being guided to get me to my destination. And I feel like you have had a lot of progress this year, Pile 1. So I'm proud of you. So the last card is going to be in regards to what is the message from your angels, or what does your angels want you to know. So the card that you have is look up, look forward, welcome new developments for positive change. So this is a certain perspective that you have to look about, as well as possibly not looking in the past or just doing things your way. Spirit is saying, as long as you look up, which is looking up to us, praying to us, communicating to us, we will guide you forward. So you have welcomed in new developments for positive change by doing things in moderation, implementing more of a strategic move that's smart versus just being focused on winning. You've been real with yourself, which has allowed you to boss up and trust your intuition more. And I just feel like by you trusting your intuition more, that it's allowing you to see things differently. But mainly it's putting you in the position to trust yourself and understand that it's not a rush. And that's what you've learned, the difference between rushing and patience. Okay? So, Pile 1, beautiful lesson. Now let's move over to Pile 2 and see what Pile 2 has learned about themselves this year in 2023. So Pile 2, for those that have chose the tweezers. Just looking at the tweezers, I just feel like you guys are paying attention to the fine details, because the fine details tells a very big picture. And it's like, you know, for the things that no longer serve you, you know how to remove. But detail is very significant, Pile 2, as far as what you have learned about yourself this year. Maybe you've learned more details about yourself that really most people didn't pay attention to, or maybe what you didn't pay attention to in regards to yourself. But let's see. What did you learn about yourself this year? What have you learned about yourself this year? Humility. You have developed the loving awareness that you and everyone else are the same, but are on different paths. Pile 2. I feel like you guys are a tough cookie, but yet in a good way. You know what I'm saying? I feel like with the energy of humility, what you have learned is that you've learned to be more accepting. I feel like you guys have the zero tolerance as far as like all or nothing, and it's okay to have that approach. But I feel like when you remove yourself from a situation and you begin to observe another person, I feel like instead of you just having that zero tolerance as far as I'm cool or I'm done, I feel like you have learned to include more compassion towards the things that you may not like or disagree with. And even though you may still have the ability to, you know, remove those things, people or situations out of your life, I feel like you're just now able to include more compassion than just sternness and just no compassion or no love at all, you know. So it's like you understand that being gentle is also being kind, and being kind is just a form of not necessarily being bitter or just, it's just a level of acceptance. You know, sometimes we don't accept things. It's hard to let it go. It's hard for you to even understand a person in a different way. And it's like you may sometimes feel like it's that person versus you when it's not even you or that person. It's just the difference of what you guys carry. So I just feel like there's not a lot of finger pointing. There's not a lot of blaming. It's just more a level of understanding to accept. So it's like this year you have learned to be more gentle. You see the pink, you see the orange. So it's like you're learning to be more optimistic. You're learning to focus on your success, or maybe you've changed your focus in regards to just what you can do, and what else you can't do, you let go. But you're learning about love. You're learning about love. You're learning to include love even in situations, because you realize love can get you further than anything else. This year, Pile 2, I see that you've also learned how to detach. You know, it's like by you detaching, it really allows you to remove yourself from situations and to be able to see it for what it is without you possibly being affected or feeling as if, you know what, it's just differences. This is not necessarily a problem. This person comes from this world, I come from this world, and it's like, okay, if it doesn't apply to where it benefits me, then that's just them and this is just me. Upside down, I just feel like, you know, by you looking at things from a different perspective, it's allowed you to just be able to look up and look forward, not behind or even what's in front of you. I just feel like you're now looking up. Upside down, maybe before it was just the way that you were looking at things. So it's like, you know, as you begin to not attach yourself to situations, you see things more clearly. Sacrifices. I also feel that, Pal, too, that you have learned to not necessarily sacrifice yourself just because you're different. You know what I'm saying? Maybe before you would hold a piece of yourself, or maybe it was a part of yourself that you really wouldn't just show or display to others, and that's because it was like, you know, maybe you felt like you were being too attached, or maybe you struggled with codependency, and it's like, you know what, I'm not going to continue to sacrifice myself to be a part or to force myself in situations, relationships with people that really don't sacrifice the same for me. So it's like by you detaching, it has allowed you to develop a loving awareness that you and everyone else are the same but different. You know what I'm saying? It's just the timing of things. Maybe you're further ahead on your spiritual journey than other people, or maybe you just started and they're ahead, but it's just you guys are still trying to get to a destination. It's just you're at a different point, you know, and you accept that. Fighting spirit. I feel like this is you just not giving up on yourself. You're the type of person that doesn't give up. So it's like with the fighting spirit, I feel like spirit has possibly really been on your heels about changing, or don't feel as if it's you, or, you know, I just feel like a part of you all is sensitive. But instead of really displaying that vulnerability, it's like you feel like you have to be tough, or maybe you were brought to show like you have to put up a fight. And it's like, you know what, I can still carry that fighting spirit, but still carry the balance of being, you know, carrying that humility energy as well. So it's like I don't necessarily have to attach myself to everything and everyone. And I just feel like you have learned to balance when to be gentle and when to fight. You also have the day that you've planted the seed. So I just feel like this is a certain life that you've manifested, and it's like now that you have a different approach, I just feel like you are manifesting a new beginning now that you have the understanding of who you are and even how things are supposed to be manifested. You're not supposed to attach to an outcome. You're supposed to just simply believe and let go. And I just feel like some of the things that you have manifested are actually starting to grow now that you have changed your perspective. You're feeling more comfortable with being yourself. You're looking at things differently, and it's like you are afraid. You're not afraid to be in your own space. And by you no longer being afraid to being in your own space, that does allow you to understand that everyone else is on the same but different paths. I feel like maybe before you would possibly seek validation to know if you're doing the right or wrong thing, and it's not necessarily about what's right or what's wrong. It's about what works for you. And I feel like you have learned this year how to exactly what works for you, which is you being in your own lane, you trusting your own path, understanding that people are different. With seeing the 3 candles, maybe this is a thing to where you realize that people aren't necessarily who you need to connect with. It's your spirit guides, or you creating an altar to bring more of that spirituality out. But candles are significant, and the number 3 is significant as well. But it's like once you planted these seeds, new things will grow. So I just feel like this is possibly what you have learned throughout the year, to where you are now planting seeds going into the new year. And just with looking at the way that she's looking upside down and then seeing how she's looking ahead, I just feel like you're seeing things differently as well, especially when you remove yourself. So the focus of this year for you, Pal 2, has been leadership. 81. Maybe some of you all were born in the year of 81, which is very random, but this breaks down to the number 9. The number 9 is completion. So this is giving me the energy that you have taken your power back this year, Pal 2, and it's like you are now taking your power back to be your own person, which does allow you to step into leadership. And also, if you notice the colors on the inside, this is pink and then red. So the thing that you have also learned is, in order to be a leader, you first have to love yourself, trust yourself, be gentle with yourself, create certain type of relationships, let it be with yourself and other people, to be passionate and trust the moves that you make. I also feel that you've learned to trust your gut, let go of the anger, the resentment that you possibly have held on to as far as the fears. And you trust the strength and courage that you carry, which has grown you into a leader, which is also a fighting spirit. In order to be a leader, you do have to not necessarily fight per se, but you do have to stand up for what you believe. And I feel like, you know, with the number 9, this is the completion of the cycle that you are now stepping into, is for just letting go of other people validating you, wanting to control your outcomes, you sacrificing who you are. You trust who you are. And that's been your focus, just learning to trust who you are, trusting the path that you're on, and you leading the way. And what you have overcome, spiritual career. Okay, so maybe this is a thing to where it's like you guys have the passion or desire to possibly, you know, be a mentor, a life coach, possibly a reader, Reiki, but whatever type of leadership role that you have accepted, with the number 78, that breaks down to the number 6. The number 6 just indicates that you have the ability to pause and reflect. So it's like, you know when to go within, you know when to check within. So it's like with spiritual career and the leader, I just feel like there's a certain sense of knowledge or a certain sense of wisdom that you now have to give to the world now that you have learned these lessons with humility. So it's like you are humanitarian, and it's like maybe you're starting to understand your position in the world or just what you're put here to do, but it's like you've accepted your purpose. And with you, you know, planting the seeds, I just feel like this is something that you've manifested, which is going to possibly elevate you to another level. You see on the inside how she has the purple, that's you trusting your intuition, that's you opening up your third eye. Spiritual downloads, which is putting you in the energy of loving yourself, creating new relationships, loving on yourself, being gentle with yourself. So I feel like maybe you've struggled with accepting the fact that you are different, you're more spiritual, and that's what makes you detached from people, because you can't take on all those other energies and those projections. And even though this spiritual path can be lonely, I just feel like you have found a peace about knowing that you can lead the way. You don't necessarily need people to lead, but you can lead your own way, and those who are meant for you will follow. But maybe with all the lessons that you have learned, you realize like, okay, I want to take this to another level and make this a career in some type of aspect. Or maybe this is just what you've learned, possibly at work as well, to where this is more so a spiritual assignment. So it's like, instead of just looking at this as, oh, life is hard, maybe you've accepted the fact that you're on a spiritual journey. And, you know, being a chosen one, you do have to make sacrifices sometimes. But as long as you know that you're able to fight and stand up for yourself, all the seeds that you have planted has grown. It's just the way that you look at it. But you have learned to master detachment. Okay. And what your angels want you to know, or your angel message in regards to the lessons that you've learned, pile 2, is new beginnings. This is an ending cycle. Something new begins today. Embrace the possibilities. And I just feel like your angels, your spirit guides, your spirit team, they're really letting you know that the things that you know, the person that you are meant to do something spiritual. You're a chosen one. I don't know if you've been seeing lotuses, but that is a sign. But I feel like this is something that you've manifested, and you're starting to begin to understand, to where you're going to soon start to see the fruits of your labor. But embrace this new beginning. You've taken your power back, and it's something that you've accepted in regards to your spirituality. So it's time for you to embrace the possibilities, pal, too. And that's what you've learned about yourself. You can now create new beginnings by accepting who you are and where you're at on your path, and allowing others to be where they are on their journey. You're not responsible for them. So, congratulations on your new beginnings that are coming to you. Last but not least, pile 3. Let's see what you guys have learned this year, pile 3. You have the Q-tip. Automatically, I'm hearing that you're hearing things from, it's like, you know, maybe your ears have been ringing more. Maybe you're starting to hear things more. It's something in regards to like maybe ear ringing, or hearing spirit's voice, or maybe this is just a thing to where it's time for you to listen more than speak. Okay. Pile 3. What has pile 3 learned this year? Okay, so this is the pile that had more than one card. Purpose, virtue. So you have learned what your purpose is, to where it's very important to who you are and where you're headed at. But let's see what the card actually says. Pile 3, purpose. You possess the determination and dedication to consciously demonstrate love. So your purpose is to love. Virtue. You acknowledge your loving spiritual attributes that encourages others to grow. So, pile 3. You have learned this year to love selflessly. You've also learned how to give love to others as well, to where you still have enough for yourself. You've learned to share your life. You understand who you are, what you are, why you are. It's like you understand the who, what's, where's, why's about yourself, to where you understand like the importance of who you are. And I feel like you've accepted it to where it's like you basically know what to do. You know, it's like you know how to give love to others. You understand that even though it starts with you, it's not just about you. I just feel like you've learned to be very selfless with yourself, but yet you are protected at the same time. You know how they say you're not supposed to just give so much of yourself. I just feel like you know the balance of knowing how much to give and when to not. And it's like, it's something that really brings you happy. It's something that brings you peace to be able to share or give love. But your purpose is like a love child, to spread love, to teach about love, to demonstrate love, to teach about love, to allow people to embrace the feeling of love. And that's what you've learned. You've learned how to love. Yeah, being authentic. Maybe before, you know, growing up or just throughout this year, it was like you felt like you had to wear a mask in order to protect yourself, or you had to hide the love that you carry or what you felt for another person. And it was like, you know, you realized the more that you took off the mask and it didn't feel right to wear the mask, it was like, you know what, I'm gonna just have to accept the fact that this is how I feel. And it's like the more that you started to accept, the more the mask became not a part of your self. And it's like it was just a thing to where you started to be more real with yourself, to where the more that you started to be real with yourself, the mask flew off, or you know, you took the mask off, and that allowed you to just really grow in a different way. You see how these trees have no leaves? I just feel like by you taking the mask off, you're setting yourself up to grow in a different way, a healthier way, by being authentic. Because you've accepted your purpose. You realize that you can't wear a mask by really stepping into your purpose. You understand that every step counts. So it's like you understand that with each move that you make, it gets you closer to your purpose. It gets you closer to yourself. But the thing is, just because you're not at the destination doesn't mean that you haven't made progress with just taking a step. And I feel like with each step that you take, you see more and more how true and authentic you are. And I feel like others see how true and authentic you are as well. With each step that you have made this year, I feel like you have understood your purpose more and more, which has made you more determined to acknowledge your loving spiritual attributes that encourages others to grow as well. I feel like this year, Pal 3, you have been a big example to a lot of people around you. Maybe you're the one in your circle or just your surroundings that really goes through a lot. But it's the way that you go through things that really amazes people. And I feel like since you have found a way to actually get through the things that you have went through, it's something that makes you really just like, oh, not necessarily a role model, but it's like people just really see you in a inspiring way. You see the glitter and the gold and stuff. So it's like, I feel like people are inspired by the moves that you have made. Yeah, the queen of everything. I just feel like for some of you all who are watching Pal 3, maybe you guys are a fire sign, an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And if not, this is also giving me like the Queen of Swords energy as well. It's like, it's the things that you say, and it's the way that you believe in the actions that you take. Like, you're the queen of everything. Not the person, but the queen. So it's like you understand that your purpose is being what's the word, like you have high ranking in the spiritual world. So it's like by you having that higher ranking in the spiritual world, Pal 3, it's like you have to really be diligent with your purpose. And with the virtue, it's like that's the importance of understanding the purpose, is that you understand that you exude everything that you need within. It's just finding that balance. And I feel like you have learned the balance by not hiding who you are and just walking towards who you're meant to be, which allows you to be everything that you are. I feel like you have accepted the fact that you're different, and you've taken the mask off. And now that you've taken the mask off and it's done set you free, I feel like you don't give a hell who accepts you. 0 fucks given. So it's like you don't really care about who accepts you. You accept yourself. You trust the path that you're on. You realize what you possess with this. So it's like if you know who you are and what you possess, nobody can take that away. And that's why you don't care. I feel like before you really cared about the way people thought of you. That's why you wore a mask. And I feel like you always have known that you're different, or things about you wasn't really like the norm. And people would even say it's something different about you, but you would take it in a way to where it's like, oh, they're judging me, versus them being curious about who you are because they notice it, but they don't even know because you didn't know. So it's like now that you've taken off the mask, it's like you can It's not about caring, it's about knowing, and you know who you are. And decluttering soul power 3 with knowing who you are, that's allowed you to declutter the way that you think, the people that you associate with, the old beliefs that you had, possibly the old information that you were reading or learning in regards to just how to live life. Like, you realize that nobody can keep you in a box. You're being authentic with yourself, and I feel like by you really decluttering, it's like you're ready to celebrate. And this is what you've learned. You've learned how to celebrate yourself. You've learned how to no longer live in a box. The box that you possibly were living in, it's like you're throwing that shit, that old belief away. And you no longer care because you're setting yourself free by moving in a new direction that allows you to be the true authentic self as far as who you are. That's beautiful. I'm sorry. I just really had to look at the cards. So what you have been focused on this year, Pal 3, is perseverance. The number 4. So you are creating a stable you, a more grounded you. You know how to connect with nature. You know how to be true to your heart. You know how to slow down and listen. But this is the place of where you're living from, is the heart. Perseverance is allowing you to move in a different way. A special way, because you've accepted and understand your purpose. And by you being diligent, by you being persistent, by you continuing to move on and move forward, what you have overcome is self-love. The number 61, that breaks down to the number 7. The number 7 is spiritual awareness, spiritual growth, transformation. The way that you have moved, every step counts, has led you into the self-love. You don't give a fuck. You've decluttered. So with the color blue, it's like you have been honest with yourself. You speak the truth. You've set yourself free. You're now living in peace. It's allowed you to create the action. It's allowed you to be passionate. It's allowed you to remember the strength that you exude and carry. I feel like this time around in loving yourself, Pal 3, you're very passionate about it. But you learn to love yourself inside out. And that's what makes you authentic. You know how to love yourself. And loving yourself is your purpose by being yourself fearlessly. And the importance of that is allowing yourself to shine. And that's your virtue, Pal 3. You love yourself. You accept yourself. You're embracing yourself, and you're comfortable in your skin, and that's what you've learned this year. You've learned how to live from your heart, not your mind, not from society, not from people's expectations, by taking off the mask and following your light. Persevering has allowed you to receive the self-love that you never had until this year by accepting your purpose. Pal 3, your angels want you to know that there are hidden treasures within you. And that's what you are. You are a hidden treasure. This year, maybe some of you all have learned about the power of crystals, or wearing crystals is something that can really help you heal, raise your vibrations, change your mind, help you trust, help you connect. I just feel like crystals have been something that's significant as well, possibly a clear quartz specifically. But I just feel like you're more in tune with the spiritual world, to where it's like you're not allowing things to take away from what you believe in. And that's the hidden treasure. You're not allowing anyone to take away what you believe. Bring your creative ideas and hidden talents to life. Present your gifts to the world. And that's what you've done. You're not afraid to hide from the world. You're not afraid to hide your gifts. You're not afraid to admit the fact that I'm spiritual and I know that I'm different and I'm on a different path. You've accepted this. So it's like with whatever ideas that you have, whatever, see, you've packed up the old ideas, so it's time to bring something new out. You're following a new path, and you trust that, Pal 3. There are gifts within you, And you understand that. That's why you realize I have to take off the mask. Like, spirit, this is not even something that you did. This is something that spirit led you to do. You finally trusted. So with you trusting it, it led you to being able to live in your purpose instead of just living. You are now living in your purpose, and that's what you learned, Pal 3. To live in your purpose without fear, without caring, with realizing that you have everything within you. You see these? She has everything that she needs around her. She has the world. She has jewels. She has crystals. She has her wings. She has beauty. Like, she has everything. And it's within her. And all Spirit is wanting you to do is present your gifts to the world. And I feel like that's what you're doing. By stepping your best foot forward into the world and allowing people to see that you possess everything. You're moving in your own lane with just perseverance and that self-love because you trust. Whew. All of these pals have done an excellent job with what they have learned. And Pal 3, this is beautiful as well. So this is the end of the pick a card reading in regards to what have you learned about yourself in 2023. I hope that you have gained some type of clarity, answers, or an insight to whatever it is that you didn't know, or maybe what it is that you did know, but it just added a little bit more of insight. I thank you for your time. I thank you for this exchange of energy. I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to the next reading, okay? Take care.